David Matchett is here, Head of Food Policy Development. My favourite guest from Borough Market is going to be bringing me some cheese and some beer. What could go wrong? This is Talk Radio.
Countdown to the general election on Talk Radio.
Welcome back to the Independent Republic of Mike Graham. Matthew Wright's coming up at 1 o'clock. But before we do any of that, I'm delighted to say that David Matchett, the Head of Food Policy Development at Borough Market, has returned, and he has come bearing gifts. And I've got a beautiful little platter of cheese and various little bits of accoutrement around it. David, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming. From Borough Market, of course, just over the road. My favourite place to go shopping. I was going to go there later anyway, because I need to get some stuff from Spice Mountain.
Thank you for inviting me in again.
Not at all.
And I hope you come over tomorrow evening to the evening of cheese, which is one of the reasons that I'm here
Excellent.
today.
We've got some lovely cheeses. Cheeses here and a little can of beer. Borough Market. Oh, you make your own beer now?
Oh yes, did you not know that?
I didn't know that.
The big glass building where we grew the hops in.
Yes.
The hops then gets turned into beer by a beer maker called Don Tapper. It is available at the Borough Market shop, but also at the Rake pub. I'm sure you know Mike at the Rake.
I do know the Rake.
So he's selling a draft and also at the Globe as well.
Oh really? I'd like to try some of that on draft.
Absolutely.
Nice.
So you can try it on draft and then
lovely
you can buy these for your party.
I'm just going to make the sound. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Specifically for my glass over here. It looks a lovely amber sort of colour, doesn't it?
It is the very special hops. It's one of the few beers that's made with fresh hops rather than dried hops. So you get a lot of
very fruity, isn't it?
Full-on fruity flavours, which will go with some of the cheeses because some of the cheeses are quite salty. So.
Now, you've been quite clever here, haven't you? Because you've brought cheeses from every country in the United Kingdom.
I have, but also just with one exception, which is the very first one, which is the Libriaco cheese, which is the first one that I pointed to there.
Yes, this one here.
Yep. I wanted to hear what you think about this here. This is actually in celebration of the anniversary of Slow Food, which is today. So I brought in one Italian cheese.
Okay, so this is Italian?
Yes. Interesting, yeah?
Oh, that's lovely. It's quite sort of tart, isn't it?
And quite winey because this has actually been soaked in wine. So it's the perfect
beautiful
cocktail party cheese on a plate without having to serve wine. So
that is delicious.
Cheese is actually soaked in Libriaco from our friends at
Libriaco. And in a particular part of Italy?
Umbria.
Oh, Umbria. Okay.
So that's
yeah, it's beautiful.
So he'll be there. He'll be there along with all the other cheese makers tomorrow night. So you can get to try. There's some that have been soaked in prosecco. I think
I'm reminded of that Monty Python sketch. Blessed are the cheesemakers.
Well, that's us tomorrow night. You know?
And in fact, the Dean might be there as well. So I guess you could actually have the cheese blessed if you wished.
The cheese is always blessed at Borough Market.
Of course,
holy cheeses.
Now the next one looks a bit brie-like to me.
Very good. Yeah, this is actually from the part of the world that I grew up in, County Armagh in Northern Ireland.
Very nice.
It's Ballylisk triple cream cheese, triple rose. So very sumptuous, luxurious.
As well.
Yeah, I mean it's cheese making that's just been going for the last few years. Some of this here actually gets washed with the apples, the apple juice that comes in the cider that's produced there as well to produce, the washed rind, more strongly flavoured.
I might have another bite of that one.
Yeah, but I don't spoil your appetite because you've got quite a few. We're going to go across then the water from Northern Ireland into Scotland, and this is one of them, an exceptional cheese from the Isle of Mull cheddar made by the Reed family.
That's lovely. Quite sharp.
And also one of the flavouring notes that I had from this here was brothy. So, one of the things about Christmas is there's always food that's left over, and what do you do with it after you've made a really, really exceptional cheese board? And so I would say that the Ballylisk goes very well with those little nuts that we have there with you.
I'm not going to eat those because if I start eating those on the air, I'll be spitting nuts like a chipmunk all over the microphone. So I'm going to stick to the cheese.
We couldn't have that, but it works really nice with with coleslaw, a coleslaw with white cabbage and
nice. I find that if I've done one of those runs that I occasionally do to buy loads of different cheeses just because I go a bit mad and love the look of them, I'll quite often maybe make something like fettuccine Alfredo with them and just put them all into a cheese sauce.
Well, this would go really well with walnuts as well, with a pasta. I've got a new pasta maker over at the market as well who's using British wheat varieties, rare British wheat varieties like spelt and emmet and einkorn and what have you. Really worth trying out.
Now, what you've also got here is some rather nice looking red onion onion and port marmalade. Now, would you put that on the cheddar?
I would put that on the cheddar, but I also brought in some honey.
Yes.
Some wildflower honey from Sussex, and I think that is almost like a little bit of a palate cleanser.
Okay.
Because some of these cheeses, as you said, they're quite full on, quite full flavors. So I would maybe save the red onion and port chutney for the blue cheese that we've got at the end.
So maybe try this with a bit of honey then.
Yeah, just
I've never thought of honey and cheese together.
Oh, honey and cheese, fantastic combination.
Really?
Well, the salt and sweet works really well. Works really nicely together.
Oh, that's good. Nice, lovely.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So
Wow.
and this cheese from the Isle of Mull, it's all they do an amazing thing where the energy that's given off from the milk in the evening is transferred and then used to make the cheese in the morning.
Right.
So it's kind of like very sustainable.
Very
way
sort of, what's the word? Holistic.
Yes, well, that's what, closed loop. So,
and now over to, is it this one next?
Yeah, so we're going into, now this is actually a Gorwith Carfilly. So it's a Welsh recipe, but it's actually made in Somerset.
Right.
But there's a lot of the whole idea of cheese making, and there's recipes and there's different ways where it can be produced. And
yes.
I think that this is just such a good Carfilly.
Also, I love that all of these cheeses are different sort of texture. The Carfilly obviously a little bit crumbly. The first one, the Italian, was just was sort of solid but quite creamy.
Yep.
The Brie obviously is the Brie. Everybody knows that. Cheddar quite hard, and this one is kind of
soft and creamy.
Beautiful.
And really nice with as again the next day to make your Welsh rarebit with as well. So
and these are all brilliant tastes. You've done terribly well.
You look as though you're enjoying yourself with this cheese platter.
I'm a lover of cheese. Well, pretty much any food really.
I'm interested to hear what you think of it with the beer, because I'm
liking it with the beer actually, more so than wine, because sometimes.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Sometimes you don't think of drinking anything but wine with cheese. I've never really drunk beer with cheese, and this is great.
You must hook up with Mike at the Rake and talk to him about wines and beers and cheese, because there are. I mean, it makes a lot more sense. I've heard that that Montgomery cheese that we tried earlier on, and when I'm trying it, it reminds me of whiskey. There's peatiness that's in it that I think comes from the land, that's there as well.
Yeah.
So there are these more wheaty and whiskey and beer sort of like notes that could be brought out by drinking that.
How would you be with
wine.
sort of grilling any of this stuff? Would you do that or not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's the day after, I mean, I think that's just it after, or even a couple of days after.
Right.
I quite like mixing cheeses. So, some of the Gorwith Carfilly, some of the Montgomery cheddar on a Welsh rarebit sort of like just sprinkle through. So you're getting the both qualities of both, and the creaminess comes through, and then you get that, that solid umami and that brothy flavours from the.
And finally,
oh, well, now this is
the blue.
This is the blue. Normally you think about, just sort of like Cropwell Bishop Stilton or...
it's not very blue, is it? It's a sort of slight blue.
Well, no, it was slight. It is. It's a slight blue, but try it, because this is...
Well, that is good.
I think that this is one of the most subtle and elegant cheeses that I've tried in a very, very long time. I mean, I was torn. I was nearly just going to bring in Stichelton, which is very much my favourite blue cheese, but I tried this morning at Neil's Yard and just sort of thought,
it's beautiful.
You know what?
I mean, I guess when I said it wasn't very blue, I mean it doesn't look terribly veiny. Like a lot of blue cheese looks very blue,
Well, it's made by the family that make, traditionally make the Red Leicester, Spartan Red Leicester cheese, and one of the members of the family decided to branch out and see if they could use a Stilton recipe to produce something that's very different.
Now, I'm going to try your recommendation and put some red onion marmalade on it and see how that
goes. While you're having a taste of that, I would say that the Ballylisk cheese is available from Heritage Cheese, which is normally in the Green Market. Isle of Mull cheddar is from Neil's Yard.
This is fantastic.
Gorwith Carfilly has its own stall in the market, and the Sparkling Hoe is available from Heritage Cheese.
I'm going to apologise in retrospect, I suppose, for sort of smacking my lips on the microphone.
It does my heart good to see a man eating good cheese,
It's so good, though. I mean, this is why I love Borough Market, and I mean, I'm not interested in people say, you're giving them a free advert, because Borough Market's fabulous. I mean, you've had a few problems one way and another over the years, we know what those are, but it's such a fabulous place to go. It's so welcoming, it's so kind of cosmopolitan and so international at the same time. So many people from other countries go there. It's just amazing.
Well, it's all started with a group of trustees with this, I think one of the most sustainable message, which was to run a market for the public benefit in perpetuity. So, we have to raise the bar, we have to change the bar and keep people happy all the time.
Yes.
So,
and the regular market, of course, for food that you take away to eat and cook at home is also augmented by the you know what I discovered the other day that I didn't even ever know about, but there's some friends of mine came in with some whiskies, the Three Drinkers. They do a show on Amazon, and they took me to the Whiskey Ginger.
Oh, right.
I didn't even know existed. Well, it was right behind one of the food stalls just by the cathedral.
It is. It's not actually technically on the market. It's not one of our properties. But you mentioned there about the food that's actually available we have a new
like street food.
Absolutely. Well, we would say it's more sit-down food because there's huge, loads of tables around. That's the Borough Market kitchen, which opened a few weeks ago. Also, wanted to just give a shout out as well to the new click and collect service. So you could be sitting here at your desk and you could be ordering your food and you could come and pick it up on the way home tonight.
God. Okay. Now you've got me, from anywhere in there?
Not everywhere just yet, but the more you ask for it, then the more people will be encouraged.
And do I just look on the Borough Market website for that?
That will give you a redirect.
Because I will be doing that.
I know you will, yeah. It's partners. We're partnered with Good 60 on this, so, and as well as delivering locally, there's also a click and collect, so you can have it whichever way you want.
And you're open all the way through Christmas, I presume, until Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve, 24th at 4:00. That's when we'll all be going to see what Santa Claus is getting for us.
Yes. Well, you guys work so hard. It's such a wonderful place. David, thank you very much indeed.
You're very
amazing
welcome.
Cheese. Go and check it out. I put a picture out of it already, but I'll put a couple of more links out as well. Borough Market, definitely. If you're coming to London, you just got to go there. It's as simple as that. We've had a lovely time today. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And of course, Matthew Wright is coming next.